Hi, I'm John Dowson, and today we're on location at the Newmarket Fire Station 41 on Gorham Street, just west of Leslie Street in Newmarket. John Molyneux, the fire chief, is away on vacation, so the deputy fire chief, Ken Bone, has agreed to be our host for the day. Ken, welcome to Community Report. And thanks for taking the time to visit with us.
No problem. It's nice to have you here.
You're the deputy fire chief,
That's
right?
correct.
How long have you been on the fire department, Newmarket?
Been Newmarket Fire Department about 21 years.
Really? Mm-hmm. Are you a native of Newmarket?
Yep, born and raised here.
Born and raised here. So what does a deputy fire chief do? What are some of the duties that you would do?
Well,
Put the other people into shape?
Basically, you support the fire chief, assist him, and then my day-to-day operations are the fire operations and training. That's what my day-to-day job is.
Now, the fire hall is on Gorham Street, and we're in the foyer here.
That's correct.
And we're standing in front of an old fire truck. Could you tell us a little bit about why is it here and what is this, the truck?
This truck here was the second motorized vehicle that Newmarket had as far as a fire vehicle. It's a 1931 Bickle, and you can see it's
a Bickle.
A Bickle. That's what it was called. A Bickle was made by the Bickle Fire Truck Company. I believe at the time it was in Woodstock, Ontario, and we use it now for parades and special events, fire prevention. Since we moved into this hall, we've had a place to properly display it. When we were in our other stations, it sort of sat in the back corner and collected dust, so we're quite happy that we can show it off.
But this was an actual working fire truck in Newmarket?
It's an actual working fire truck in Newmarket. Last fire it actually worked at was in 1971, which was a barn fire.
In 1971? This was, and when was it purchased originally?
It was actually bought in 1930, and we took delivery in 31.
Gee, that's 40 years.
It's quite a rig.
And it was still, I guess it would still work today if you fired it up.
It still runs, yep, it still runs. The pump doesn't work as good as it should, but the truck still runs.
But this is what you have when you have parades, and this is what the thing you do around here. Yep. And what else is here now? How long has this fire department been here?
We moved in this facility in July of 1991. And it's a far improvement over our other stations that we've had. It's designed to be a fire hall. And at the front here we have a little bit of a museum, a little bit of history of our fire department and members' names and our old alarm systems and a few things.
So if people were walking by, or visiting, just driving by, could they come in and visit here and take a look at this?
We welcome the public to come in and for a tour, see what we've got here, talk to the staff, see how we operate. We're always happy to see the public.
Now, I know you have a lot of photographs here around of disasters in Newmarket and fires and so on.
Yep.
So people can come and take a look at those as well?
Yep. Yep, they can come in and take a look around.
So you said, I'm looking at one here now, this was the...
That's the office specialty building.
The one downtown that burnt, when was that fire?
That fire was in 1971.
And the whole thing burnt down?
Yeah, that's correct. That's where the York Regional Police Building is there now. That's in that area.
So if it hadn't burnt down, we wouldn't have the police down there, I guess.
You could say that, yeah.
Before this fire hall was built, where was in 91, where was the other fire hall? Where was it before?
Okay, we moved from the Davis Drive Hall, which was at 730 Davis Drive, which is towards Alexander Davis Drive area. We moved that hall. We opened in about 1973, and in conjunction with that we also operated a fire hall on the main street, which is still standing at the top of the hill. We outgrew
that. Was the old fire hall.
That was the old fire hall, and there was actually two fire halls on that site.
There was?
Yeah, one was built. I think that the existing one was built in 1951.
There is a fire hall there. It was built 52, I think.
It could have been 51,
area.
52 is the one that's standing there now.
And that's used now for various other venues. That's not a fire department now,
No, it's not a fire hall anymore, no.
But they use it for, I think, the corralers and the barbershop people practice in there.
We had to stop using it because we couldn't get out onto the main street. As the fire trucks grew bigger, we couldn't make the turn out. We'd have to stop and back up, so we couldn't use it any longer.
And then they moved to Davis and then to here. How many fire stations are there in Newmarket?
There's just one at this time.
Just one?
Just one fire hall.
And this is on the west, this is the east side of town.
That's right.
And there's a proposal of one.
Proposal for one for the west side.
But that's, right now, it's just the one fire hall.
That's correct.
How many firefighters are there?
We operate on what they call a 4-platoon system, which has 4 shifts. 2 shifts are on duty to cover a 24-hour period, and they have 9 people on each shift. One of those being a dispatch, because we run the dispatch center here, and one supervisor being a captain.
So there's how many captains?
There's four captains, four shifts. Of
And
9
4
people each.
dispatchers.
Yeah, and 4 dispatchers.
Do they work all around the clock here? Or
Yeah,
what
they
kind of-
work a 10-hour day shift and a 14-hour night shift.
14-hour night shift.
That's correct.
So you'd have to eat here then, wouldn't you?
Yep, they eat, sleep, work, everything here. It's just like in a second family.
Now, what does the dispatch do? What's that?
The dispatch, we run a central dispatch for basically the north half of York region from our facility here. We've done that since about 1975.
So could we go in and take a look at the dispatch area? Is there someone in there now?
Sure is, yep.
Okay.
Take a look.
All right, thanks. Okay, here we are in the, I guess like the nerve center of the whole place,
right,
the dispatch room.
That's right. This is where the call originally starts. So we receive the call from whoever has the emergency, and then it goes from here.
Can you tell us a little bit about this map here? Maybe you can just move over, we can get a shot of this. What is this? I know it's a map of the York region, but can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
This is the map of York region and our dispatch area. It shows where the fire stations are. It gives us the numbering system of the concession roads. So if we get a number on a concession road, we know exactly where it is.
You've got Pefferlaw up there, 18 or 18, Sutton 16, Keswick 14. Do you handle dispatch for all of this area here out of this room?
Yes, everything from Aurora north is handled out of this dispatch center.
From Aurora north?
Yeah, from Aurora, all this area, all the way up is handled from this dispatch center.
Now, is this all integrated? I know each of these places have their own fire departments, like East Gwillimbury has their own fire department, and Keswick and so on, but for purposes of fighting fires, how does this work? Is it, are we all amalgamated now?
No.
No?
No, the Georgina Fire Department operates 3 stations across the top half of the region. Okay, they have 1 fire chief that acts as 1 municipality. East Gwillimbury has just hired a part-time fire chief. They have three fire stations across theirs. Then we get into Newmarket, which we just have the 1 fire station, and then Aurora has 1 fire station.
But if a call comes in here to the dispatch, do they dispatch all of this area out of here? That was what I was going to ask.
Yeah, all those departments I just described all are dispatched out of here.
Out of here?
That's correct.
So if there's a fire in Keswick, does the phone call come in?
The phone call comes in here. There's a fire in Pefferlaw, the phone call comes in here.
And
there's
so,
a fire in Aurora, phone call comes in here.
And then what happens? How does, if Bill was handling that, how would that go?
Just about like this.
What?
Fire department for what town?
What's happening now?
Okay, he has a cell call,
Okay, is that in Vaughan?
and what probably has happened,
Okay, I'll
probably
transfer you to Vaughan then. Just a minute, ma'am.
we've got a car fire on the go here probably.
Well, this is for real.
This is for real.
So what is this? A fire?
Okay, what's happened there? You see on the 911 screen?
Yeah.
That's come up, and that's the information that tells us that that's a cellular call. And it sounds like it's out of our area. It's down in Vaughan's area.
So he's
Bill's
handling.
he's transferring it to Vaughan right now. Through the
So
911 system.
someone is phoned in from a cellular phone in a car.
Mhm.
And you think it might be a car fire?
Probably.
And so where does it show where this is?
Well, this is the problem with cell phones. It doesn't.
So you don't know where the call is coming from?
No. No, Bill has to physically, when he answered the phone, he asked where the call was.
Yeah.
And with him knowing the boundaries, he knew it was Vaughan, and he's transferred it to Vaughan there now.
And is that 911?
That's 911.
Oh, so 911 comes in here as well?
Yes. Yeah. What happens as soon as Bill's done? There we go. What happens is the 911 system. Actually, what I'll do is this is Bill Ornimer. I said it
Bill,
wrong.
welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Bill can
Welcome to
explain the
dispatch.
workings.
So
here.
what happened just there? That was
Bruce, you want to get the phone?
That was just our non-emergency phone. What happened with cellular callers, obviously the towers are where the call is picked up, and so they always come into Aurora, and the call is assumed as an Aurora call, so it comes in here, to make a long story short.
So that wasn't a fire call. That was
It was a fire call for the city of Vaughan. What
it was?
happens with cellulars is that they come in here, we get calls for Barrie, Oro Township, City of North York. We get them quite a few calls from the cellulars.
So that
come
was
in here.
like if someone called 911, which is that was probably 911.
That's
so that
right.
came in here. Could you tell us a little bit about how that works, this 911 thing? I didn't know it came in here.
Yeah, well, it's not supposed to, but obviously with cellular callers, they have to come in somewhere, and with the phones, they don't know the borders as well as land telephones.
So what if it was someone from Newmarket, maybe in town here, and picked up the phone and called 911? It would come in here.
There's a 99% chance it'll come in here.
Okay, then what happens?
Well, it'll come up here as cellular, as you can see, because the last call was for the City of Vaughan, and we transferred it to City of Vaughan. It says cellular here 3 times, so it doesn't have an actual address for a person or a name, because obviously we don't know.
But if it was someone, say, phoning from, like if I phone from my house, 911.
From your house or from your cellular?
From my home.
Yes, that will come up. It'll say the municipality, which obviously is Newmarket.
Right.
It'll say your name and the phone number at your house.
It will?
Yes, it will.
So you know almost what address this is coming
That's
from.
right, but we can't guarantee. We have to double check everything. We have to confirm, because you might be calling about your neighbor. You might see a fire in your backyard. You might be coming home and calling because there's an accident on the highway.
Right.
Whatever, we always have to confirm that information. That's just a backup and just something that we can rely on if we have to.
So if it was an emergency call, let's say I phoned in 911,
Yes.
and you're talking to me, then what happens? What's the next step? What's the next thing you would do?
Well, we have to determine which town it is, what type of call it is, your name, your phone number, and we have to notify the proper fire department. For example, if it happened to be Mount Albert, then we have to send them out. We set off their tones. Mount Albert has volunteer firefighters.
Right.
And so we use this is our dispatch radio, and we have different fire departments on here. Mount Albert, Queensville, Holland Landing, Newmarket, Keswick, Sutton, Pefferlaw, Schaumburg, King City, Nobleton, and Station 6-1, which is Aurora. So we'd select Mount Albert,
Right.
and we'd set off their tones and advise them of the location and the type of emergency that they will be responding to.
So something is now ringing, or would be ringing in the Mount Albert Fire Station up there?
No, they all have pagers. They all have pagers. So they're at, they might be at their full-time jobs or in bed sleeping or whatever with their families.
Yeah. This is the. I see. So everybody who's a volunteer gets their little
pager.
Pager.
That's right. So that's the idea of being a volunteer firefighter.
But if it was in Newmarket, then it wouldn't be a tone. You would
We'd
have
set off the hall tones, yes.
Everybody would start running out, right?
Pardon me?
So everybody would then leave and
That's right. Yeah, that would go from there.
Now what about, so that's the 911. What about this other crisis service, whatever they call it,
this computer-aided dispatch is what it's called. We take a call from here, and we have to keep track of all the times and keep track of all the trucks that go out to all the emergencies. So this is how we do it. We use our computer, and we bring up the call, and as you can see, it shows the time that we received. Now that's the time the phone rings, and we pick it up and start communicating with the caller.
Right.
And that's the time that's recorded. We put the caller's address, the caller's name, the caller's phone number, and any comments. For example, if it's a barbecue fire, or if it's a house fire, or someone having trouble breathing, or whatever type of emergency they have, we can comment about it, and we can input information from here.
And this is all going on when you're on the phone talking.
Yes.
You're plugging this in, right?
Yes. When it rains, it pours, because there's only myself in here, and obviously I can't do 2 things at once. So I can answer the phone, and I can try to have 5 arms, but you can only do so much with only one dispatch.
This is over here. We've got a map.
That's right.
Display. Now, what is that? What's that for?
Well, we have a map in here to determine where the emergency is. So when we put in the caller's address, I'll put one in here.
Okay. This is a map of the city or the town, is it?
The town of Newmarket,
Oh, I
yes.
see. And those are all houses there.
That's right, and we have information about each house, if there's any hazardous materials located. And so we have the person's name that owns it in there, so we can confirm that that's the correct information. Yes.
Just by putting in the address.
That's right. And we can input information so that when we do have calls, for example, if there's hazardous materials at a home, if there's oxygen at a certain location, that we know barbecue tanks, if there's stored there, whatever.
Like a propane tank, that kind of thing?
That's right.
Do you know all that? Or
if we input it into the computer, we can access that information when there is an emergency. So, for example, York County Hospital, they have certain hazardous materials. We can input it on the computer, so when that address comes up, we can have forewarning and advise the trucks when they are
So what's the benefit of that? So they would know what equipment to take? Is that the idea? Or
yes, and to proceed with caution in certain areas. If they need to know if there's chlorine in a certain location, for example, a pool, obviously. At York County Hospital, we have to be aware of these kind of situations before we go in.
So before the truck leaves, they know a lot about the fire and the building, and
that's right.
You need to know that.
You never know. You never know what you're getting into. There's always different types of emergencies, and you can never know 100% of what you're getting into, but at least it gives us a better idea than we had in the past.
Yeah, it's not like the old days barging in with an axe and
or a hanky over your...
A hanky over your...
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, with water.
That's right.
But now you've punched up an address there. Now how would that work on the map? Now what shows up on the map?
Well, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, it says Jeanette Street on here, and that's the address that we put on here.
Right.
So we can input information.
And all that information
and that's already on here. Yes. The occupancy, the size of the home, and we can get all this information. Whatever information that we decide that should be inputted in.
So it tells you what kind of building is made of, if it's
That's
brick?
Right. It's a single family dwelling. We can see the square footage of the home. We can input anything we want to input. We can do it.
And what else is in there?
Where the natural gas lines are, or the
That's
hydro.
in there as well?
We can access that too, yes. Where the fire hydrants are, we can advise the fire trucks exactly where the hydrants are. If we get multiple calls, then we have a better idea that there is a house fire. This computer has the capability of telling the fire trucks, or whatever department it might be, Aurora, we could have a computer there to tell them the quickest way to get there, depending on the day. If it's rush hour, maybe another way is faster. And that we can input information and decide that. So when the truck leaves the scene, they know exactly how to get there at that time of day.
And what are those, like those little yellow things? Are that fire hydrants?
Those are fire hydrants, and obviously they're very important to us. If we're responding west of that house, we can pick up this hydrant here, and I can advise them it's in front of that number.
So they know exactly what street, the number of the house, where to find the hydrant.
That's right. Yeah, so this can be helpful.
Now, here's another address there. Maybe you could punch that one up. That's, I think, my house there.
Yes, well, yes, we've already got a lot of warnings about this house.
Oh, you have? Let's see. So you're punching in the address now, right?
That's correct.
And then there's my wife's name?
Mm-hmm.
Is my name on there as well?
Well, we can access that too.
You can?
And 60 Harrison Drive, you can see that's where the telephone, the red telephone is.
So that would, that's where the call came from?
Yes, well, we can, not necessarily. This is where the call, this is where the emergency is.
Okay, I see.
For example, if the ambulance notify us that your wife has trouble breathing, then we know exactly where you are. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fire. It could be any emergency, a broken gas line, whatever, hydro lines down.
It's not just cats up the telephone pole.
No, that's right. No,
but I mean, that happens, I'm sure, sometimes.
Oh, well, we don't go to those anymore.
No, not anymore.
We're just too busy to...
So now that's off of Davis Drive now. If it was in the afternoon, or the rush hour or something, what would you do? Route that? You would know?
We don't have that in the computer as yet. This computer has the capability of deciding which way the fastest route would be.
To that address,
That's
right?
correct.
The notify, the resolve, what does that mean, notify and resolve?
Well, it depends if we want to make this a call. If this is the information that we have up here, we would input the phone number, and we'd say, okay, well, yes, this is an emergency, we will respond. And there, as you can see, it doesn't say what type of emergency yet because we haven't inputted that
So you're now responding, right?
Yes, I will send Newmarket, and this will record the time for Newmarket has been dispatched. And that's when we set off the bells
Yeah.
and notify the firefighters and the captain of that emergency. So
Now,
let's
is
say-
this after there is the incident time, right?
That's right. So that records the time that I set off the bells and notified the firefighters.
No, it's got fire, public hazard.
These are the different emergencies that we could possibly respond to. If there's not on this list, then it's on other.
What's a remote alarm? What's that?
York County Hospital, for example, if someone pulls a pull station or they have a fire and a heat detector has been activated,
Yeah.
then that will constitute a remote alarm.
And the rest, was it?
There's
Resuscitator?
a resuscitator, that is a medical call, a medical assist. If we help the ambulance with a certain patient or they're going to be out of town and they're going to be a while, then we'll respond
Right.
and do medical aid for that patient.
I don't see anything there that says disaster, but they all are. There's even a bomb threat in there. I
There's
see.
bomb threat, yes, we help the police or we help another fire department. But let's say your house has a house fire.
Right.
Then, as you can see on here, it records.
Now it comes
that
up,
type.
fire structural residential call located, right?
That's right.
You get a little picture of a house on
That's right.
fire.
We try to make it as simple as possible. And this is hooked up to different computers, for example, upstairs in the deputy's office and the chief's office. Then they can know, okay, well, at least they can be notified without bothering us of what's going on in the town of Newmarket or in Northern York region.
Now, is this all recorded on some kind of a tape or a log of some kind?
It is. Like I said, we have been recording the times. The times have been recorded on this computer screen here.
Okay.
For example, if
There's my name again, right?
That's right. Well, we can get rid of that one and bring up another one.
Right. So this is the fire is over.
That's right. We put it out already. We're going to go to another one now. We'll just take this one.
Uh-huh.
So let's say we're going to send Squirt 413 and Rescue 419. Those are two fire trucks that are manned 24 hours in Newmarket. And we're got them en route.
Okay,
So
they're heading towards the fire.
they're going to
the
another
address
fire.
now,
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay.
So as you can see, it records the times which have been dispatched and en route.
Isn't
So,
that something?
and then we can record them on location, clearing, what time they leave the scene, and that they get back to this station.
Now, do you get many calls that are sort of like a roast on, a fire, or maybe it was not a crank, but I mean, it wasn't as serious as someone thought. Maybe it was just
Oh
smoke.
yes, that happens all the time too. A lot of the calls that we respond to are didn't seem as serious, but we have to, for example, remote alarms where there's someone pulled the pull station. It wasn't as much of a disaster as we thought it was going to be. That happens quite often.
And who invented this or designed this?
There's
software?
a company named Crisis, and they develop computer software for firefighters and dispatching fire departments.
Now, I was talking to Ken, the deputy fire chief earlier, and we were discussing this. He mentioned that somebody had, this was designed in Newmarket, or a fellow in Newmarket.
It was, yes.
Was he a firefighter?
No. He designed, their office was in Newmarket, and we were guinea pigs here for a while, so they had to work out a few of the bugs, and so we were able to play with their different designs, and we settled with this system here that we have now.
So this was created in Newmarket?
That's correct, yeah.
The whole program, the software and everything?
That's correct.
And now, is this sold or available to other
Oh,
fire-
yes, all over Canada, from Halifax to
The same equipment?
Vancouver Island. Yes, yep. Different systems, because each fire department has different needs, of course. But a lot of different fire departments have had a use for the Crisis CAD system.
And it was the designed here, but it's available to other.
Definitely.
It's similar on a similar. These
Yes.
little maps and everything. They all go with the whole program.
Yes.
Huh?
Yep.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. But like I said, every fire department has different needs, so therefore they have different systems. They might not have the call come up the same way we have.
Now, if this was a real fire and someone had phoned in and that number came up and so on, what would happen in the fire hall? Besides everybody waking up if it was the middle of the night or getting what would happen?
Well, we'd set off the bells, like I said, and I'd press page and advise the firefighters the location and the type of emergency that they will be responding to.
This is all inside the...
That's right. We can set it off on a telephone. We can do that now or later, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
And we would send the 2 trucks out here that we have in this station, and that's how it would be for Newmarket. And like I said, for other fire departments, for example, Aurora, we would use our radio here and set off their tones and let them know the emergency over the air.
So if it was from, let's say, Queensville or East Gwillimbury, somewhere in East Gwillimbury,
Yes.
the call would come in here the same way. Does it have the
Yes.
maps of East Gwillimbury and everything on here as well in this software program?
Yes, well, we have the capability of putting all of York Region on this computer.
And then you would contact them the same way, and all that type of thing would happen, like the bells would ring and people would, trucks would start up.
That's right.
In some other location.
Right. If you called 911 in Pefferlaw, it would ring in here.
Now, if
because it's
they're
all
on the
set
way
up.
to the fire, and they're in contact with you then, so you can tell them where the fire hydrants are? And
Yes, they'll book on the air. They'll tell us that they're responding to the certain address because over the pager they have been notified as to the address and the nature of the call. And if there's any additional information, then we'll advise them when they're responding.
So this is in some other town, not Newmarket.
Oh,
This is
absolutely,
in
yes.
maybe Keswick or somewhere in Georgina or whatever, and you're talking to these people
That's right.
about this.
Yes, we pretty well dispatch out Northern York Region. We have the capability of dispatching the region, but we'd only do that in emergencies.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much.
Oh,
Jack.
you're welcome.
This has really been interesting.
Yes. I'll just explain. This is our recorder. This records all our radio transmissions and telephone conversations.
It does.
Yes, that's on a video
on
cassette.
audio.
That's right. And so we have a tape of that, and we keep that for approximately 30 days. And this is our dictaphone. We can play back the last call that we've had for the last 10 minutes if we need to say, well, what exactly was that address? They were talking pretty fast and they were pretty panicky. Then we can try to play it back and just make sure that we have the right address. So
what would happen now if you buzzed the hall, the station here now? what would go
well,
on?
I'll just tell them that we're testing it.
Okay.
Testing the bells, test. And that sound goes all over the fire hall. We have outside speakers, as our neighbors probably realize.
Yeah.
And that sets off the tones, and that lets everybody know that we have a call. And
then you talk in the...
I talked like I did with the paging.
Oh, that's the paging, so...
Test, and I let them know over the page what type of emergency we have for Newmarket. For other fire departments, I would use the radio, and I would let them know I'd set off their pagers, and then I notify them as to the emergency and the location of that emergency.
Okay. I didn't really realize that it was so much goes on in the station here in Newmarket. You know, that you're in touch with not only the rest of Newmarket, but all of New York region, and I guess the world if you need to be.
That's right. Yes.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
The specialty channels, bringing you more choice.
It's a good thing.
More movies. How do you do? More documentaries. More entertainment. More music. Bravo, CMT, Discovery, Life, Showcase. The specialty channels. Get more from television. Call Rogers and get the combo.
At Rogers Cable Systems, we're committed to bringing you the best in home entertainment. From sports to movies to the best networks. From around the world to around the corner. It's all here with Rogers Cable Plus, Cable Combo, Cable Select, Pay TV, and Pay-Per-View. If you don't have it, you're not getting the whole picture. Rogers Cable Systems. We want to be what you want to see.
We're waiting for our other guest, and he seems to be a little late. Oh, here he comes now. Sparky the fire dog.
Hello, John. How are you today?
Well, no visit to the fire station would be complete without a visit from you, Sparky.
Well,
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Sparky, what do you do around here? What kind of things do you do?
I talk to all the boys and girls about fire prevention, and talk to the chief, and bite the mailman. They had to pull my teeth out because I bite the mailman.
Oh, you do that?
Yes, sir.
I like the hat, Sparky. Is this the official Firefighters Newmarket Fire Department hat?
This is my helmet. I don't go to many calls, but when I do, I got to wear protection, John.
And when you go to the schools, what do the children and what do the students say?
Ah, they love me. They just love me. I tell them all about fire prevention, teach them how to stop, drop, and roll.
Stop what?
Stop, drop, and roll. If your pants are on fire, you stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll. Well, that's
right.
neat. That's fun.
That's a good safety tip for the kids.
And
also, I teach them to crawl low under smoke.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
What does that mean?
When your house fills up with smoke, it's going to go to the ceiling first and come down to get you. So you have to get down where the air is clean. And crawl low, go to your exit, and get out and stay out.
That's another neat. Do you have any more safety tips?
Well, there's lots, John. There's lots about smoke detectors. We've got lots of brochures here, as you can see.
Oh, I got one. Oh, yeah, right here.
Carbon monoxide's a big worry these days.
How early warning can help save your life.
Yeah, I tell the kids about smoke detectors, make sure the batteries are working. They're no good if the batteries don't work.
And I saw you at the fall fair on the main street in Newmarket.
I was there, talking to the boys and girls.
That's right, and it was on Canada Day you were there as well.
Yep.
Are you going to be there again next year?
I'll be there. I'm a patriotic dog.
Okay. Well, thanks for visiting with us, Sparky.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Ken, what's this? This is the fitness room.
This is our physical fitness room, John. Any firefighter that was hired after 1990 has to maintain a level of physical fitness. This room was put together in conjunction with the town of Newmarket, the Firefighters Association, and the Human Foundation, which is a foundation that supports physical fitness for firefighters.
And I notice we've got one of the firefighters just on the...
One of our fine specimens here, firefighter Rusty Robinson, he's working out.
And what type of equipment do you have here? What is he doing here now? What's that called?
That's the Stairmaster. What it does is stimulates climbing stairs. It's quite a good workout. And then beside it we have a computerized bicycle where on the computer screen here you can actually race another person on it. We have weights, free weights.
You can race another person on the...
They actually, you start this up and you have there's two pictures of bicycle racers there, and one person, you set it up and you race him on the computer.
On the computer, that's kind of neat. And what else you remarkable?
Set of free weights here, which some fellows like to work out in, and then we have the other combination that has a combination machine that does all kinds of exercises with it.
And there was I see some signs around here, how to get the most effect out of aerobics and lower bod workout, only 20 minutes. Can you do aerobics in here as well? The music and everything?
We have a physical fitness appraiser on staff that helps people develop programs and sort of fit everybody's needs, because some people don't like the Stairmaster, others like the bicycle, some like doing the weights. So we try to set it up. He works with the firefighters to set up whatever they feel comfortable with.
Is this at just the firefighters what they want, their program, or any time, or is there a sort of a regiment that they have to follow, or so many hours a day, or so many minutes a day, that kind of thing?
For the fellows that have been hired with it in the contract that they must maintain a certain level of physical fitness, it's a standard, it's a Canadian standard, and it was set by York University, and they must maintain that level to their age. It's prorated to their age.
And is there, what is that, it's like a weigh-in every week or every month?
No, what they do, once a year they do an actual evaluation. The appraiser puts them through the motions, and they check for body fat, heart rate, and things like that.
Now, where is this done? Right here in the fitness room?
That's right.
Somebody comes in,
Yeah, we have a fitness appraiser on staff.
On staff?
Yeah,
Is
he's
this
an
one of
actual
the,
firefighter.
one of the firefighters?
That's correct.
And how about any other exercise? Like, this is nice and indoors, but how about outside? Can they do that, like jog or bicycle?
They're sort of limited to what they can do. They have to stay here because they got to go on the fire truck. We do have a basketball court and a few things where in the summertime they keep active that way.
So in case of a fire, is this wired so that they
Yep.
can, like a sound?
Yep. If we need them here, if Rusty has to respond to a call, an alarm goes off in the room and away he goes.
Can we talk to Rusty for a sec?
We sure can.
Says Rusty, what is it, Rusty?
Robinson.
Rusty? And how long have you been on the a firefighter here?
8 years.
And so you are you one of the ones who was hired after this?
I was the last one hired before they brought in the new physical fitness rules, so to speak. So,
But this isn't something you have to do now either by legislation, but or regulation, by contract. But you want to do it anyway.
yeah, we try to get in as often as we can. Sometimes you can't because of calls, so it's hard to keep a schedule as far as a daily workout, or you never know what's going to go on with calls or tours, that type of thing. So.
And how often do you do this, Rusty?
Myself, sporadically, I'll get in for a period of time and then break away from it, but everybody's a little different. Some guys are in here every day that they're working. Other guys are in here every other day that they're working. It just depends on what type of schedule they've set up for themselves.
So like if you're on a 10-hour shift or like a 14-hour shift, then you might take an hour or a half hour or something and come in and work out on a regular basis.
Yeah, the captains try to work with the ones, like the people who come in to work out, the captain will try to work out a time that's mutually good for both, and it fits into the schedule.
Is this one of your favorite ones, the stair climber?
Yeah, I don't really like the bike that much. I prefer the stair climber.
Okay, we'll leave Rusty to keep climbing the stairs, and we're going to go out and take a look at the rest of the area. We're here in the lounge area of the Newmarket Fire Station on Gorham Street, and we're talking with Jack Boving.
That's correct.
Jack's one of the firefighters, and this is the lounge that is in the actual fire station, right?
That's right. This is our living quarters, as we call them. This particular area here, we use it for meetings or at night watch television, sports, news.
So I noticed behind us, Jack, we have tables and chairs. Is this where the firefighters eat as well?
That's where we get fat.
And that's the kitchen?
And behind that's the kitchen. And,
where all the famous recipes are made. And
some of them, some are not so famous.
Yeah, the Newmarket Firefighters spaghetti, special sauce, right?
Yeah, we cook up a fairly good meal once in a while.
This isn't really the card lounge, isn't where they play cards, cribs, that kind of thing?
Not during the week, no.
What actually goes on? I mean, I know it's a nice, relaxing area. There's chairs and things, and TV and so on. I mean, can the TV be on?
Usually we have television on at night after all the cleanups are done. If we do have training sessions, sometimes in this room, sometimes with the aid of the television, of course, with videotapes.
Oh, so you have training tapes on the video?
We have training films on video, yes.
And can you turn the TV on in the daytime? Is that...
Not, maybe during lunchtime we'll watch the news, especially if there's something going on with our fire department at a particular fire call or car accident.
It's on cable, so you get Community 10 as well, right?
We should be able to get that this week.
Every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, Community Report, remember that. But, so if you're having a shift, you're coming on shift, and I think he said there's about 9 people on the shift, isn't it, Captain?
That's correct.
And 9, well, including him.
Including the captain and the dispatcher, yes.
9 firefighters. Is this where you would come for meetings and so on as well?
Not particularly in this sitting area. Usually around the tables here, that's where all the chit-chat goes on. And you know, where the BS goes on.
Yeah, well, you talk about that. This is where you come to relax after the fire or before the fire?
No, after a fire we get a lot of work to do. You know, clean up, get the trucks back, and get ready for the next call.
That's an important thing, I guess, isn't it? I notice you go into fire stations or the trucks and the equipment is always so clean. I mean, you're always out, but I mean, after a fire, it's got to be a lot of work.
We got to make sure that the stuff that goes back on the trucks works. You know, is clean. It's usable again for the next. You know, we always got to be ready.
So, out of a shift of 9 people, what is there? Do you rotate who's going to do the cooking, or is it just some?
No, the only rotation we really have is the drivers of the vehicles. The driver, the pumper he does the whole shift, and the driver of the rescue is rotated every day.
And somebody has to clean up the dishes afterwards, I guess. That's on a rotating basis as well.
No, that's just who hasn't done the cooking's got to clean.
Oh, I see. That's how it works, is it?
That's about the size of it.
And how about this sleeping? I mean, an overnight 14-hour shift is a long time. Is there a place where a person can lay down, rest for a while?
There is a rest facility upstairs. We have some beds up there. If it's not busy, usually about 11 o'clock, 11:30, we lie down for a while.
Just to rest up. I mean, it's a long day.
Right.
But there's always somebody on, because you can call in here, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and there'll be always somebody on here.
There's always somebody awake, yes. Mm-hmm.
I see Randy's off now. He was
Rusty?
Yeah. For at end of his shift, I think he's got someone coming in to take over his place. And so this is just a relaxing magazines you can read and sit in here and relax.
Relax, study, watch television after an evening only, not in the daytime. What types of training films would they have on here, and who produces them? Production, I'm not sure of. There's so many different companies that will produce tapes. We have, for instance, a new truck comes in, there's a tape comes with it, and we watch it, we study it. And then
what, like on firefighting techniques, or
that too, but especially when you get new equipment in.
Oh, I see.
Usually there's a videotape that comes along with it, and
so they show you how to operate the equipment, and
that's correct.
So then, like, that you'd be here watching this and taking it apart, or cleaning it, or fixing it up.
Not in here, no.
No, but I mean, you'd have the tape to give you the instructions.
It just gives you basic instructions of how the machine works. And
this is a lot nicer than the lounge you had over on Davis, if I recall.
It is a lot nicer.
That was in the sort of stuck in the back there and everything. This is a real nice facility. Well, thanks very much, Jack, for taking the time to talk to us here.
Welcome.
And we appreciate it. Now we'll get on with our visit. Okay, Ken, we've seen the lounge. We've been into the fitness room, watching lots of people work out there. And we've been in the dispatch. Where are we now in the actual station? What do you call this?
This is the apparatus floor. This is where all the major firefighting equipment is stored and serviced and worked on. We do all our vehicle maintenance and washing out in this area, and along with our workshop and compressor room and everything.
The apparatus. I mean, this is where all the, what are the trucks? Are they called apparatus as well, or?
Well, yeah. Everything we call is, anything we use is called apparatus. It just covers a wide variety of our equipment.
So what else is here besides just the trucks? You know the things that they hang the hoses. Do you do those here as well?
We have on the other side of the building here. We have an 80-foot hose tower. We have a workshop with tools and compressors and stuff, and we have an air compressor for all our breathing apparatus. We have an breathing apparatus maintenance room. We have storage and then equipment storage for all the off-duty firefighters. It's all contained in this area.
You have a workshop here as well, I think, don't you?
Yep, the workshop. We do all our own maintenance, so we have a workshop.
You mean for the trucks and that kind of thing?
Everything. Anything that needs to be fixed, we fix it.
And all of this equipment here, is this the same type of stuff?
Oh, okay.
What's that?
We got a call.
What's that?
We're going to fire.
What's happening?
Well, what we've got here, John, is that they've reported a house fire at 74 Monkswood Crescent, and this is a normal response.
Is this what usually happens here?
This is what happens here, yeah.
What are these guys doing here now?
They have to put, under occupational health and safety, you have to have firefighting gear, and you have it put on before you're on the truck. So they're up and ready to roll here.
He's left his shoes there on the, I see on the... And this will happen?
respond, and then the captain, as he moves out, he'll report to the dispatch to verify the address.
Oh, really? This is a...
That's the normal response on how they would respond to a call.
So that wasn't a real call then, was it?
No.
Oh, so hey, that's interesting. So they actually come down to that slide
That's
thing,
actually,
you know?
that's how they do it.
It didn't take them very long to come down.
No, the firefighters are usually out of the hall in less than a minute.
And I noticed that this truck here, they've got things in the back, like one of them was open, and the guys are getting out of the truck there now, right?
Yeah, this is a newer style fire truck that has everybody strapped in facing forward, so they're all belted in, and it's a lot safer. They're all climate controlled. They can talk to each other, so everybody knows what's going on.
And what kind of equipment? The boots and everything are all part of the same thing, or what?
It's all structural firefighting gear.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, what about the old helmet? You know that people used to wear. You know the thing at the back and the. Do you still have that?
We still have the design is very similar, but it's far improved from what the old leather helmets were back in the
Could I take a look at? Could we take a look at one of the hats?
Sure can.
And who's the fellow there?
Actually, if Dave, firefighter Smith, he's going to show you the truck, so he can probably explain the equipment and everything to you too.
That's who is that?
That's Dave Smith.
And
he's our squirt operator today, so he can explain the equipment and what this truck is all about.
What's a squirt?
A squirt is a sort of a slang term for anything that has a boom on it with a remote control nozzle, which this truck does. They're called a telesquirt, and through the evolution of calling it a telesquirt, we've slimmed it down and we call it a squirt. So we have squirts and engines and tankers, and they're all numbered. The new style of firefighting gear, it's been in use probably for about 6 years now, thereabouts, and it's a standard issue. The idea that it gives the firefighter full protection from top to bottom, because in most cases, if you have his breathing apparatus on, a firefighter doesn't walk into a fire. If he's into a working fire, he's on his hands and knees, so you have to have him well covered. You don't want anything exposed.
And is that fire retardant, that type of stuff that he's got on? That's
fire resistant, yes.
Yeah. And with the hat, it's quite a bit different than. Is it, like a football helmet on the inside?
It has a suspension system. It's fairly heavy. It's a fairly heavy helmet. It's all been tested to withstand heat, fire, and of course impact from the side, impact from the top.
And these are specially made, are they?
They're a specially designed firefighting helmet.
What is that little thing behind, like that hangs down there, that cloth?
Just a storage.
Yeah, that. What's that? What's
that's
that?
a fireproof cover to protect the firefighter's head. We also have, in conjunction with that, a hood, which is a PBI hood, which is flame-resistant hood, which goes right over the firefighter's head.
They put that on?
That's correct.
And is that?
That gives him extra protection, and then when he puts his air mask on, his SCBA goes over his face, and then he's fully protected.
And then he puts the helmet on top of this.
That's right. The mask would go on, and then the helmet goes on top of that.
Can we see you put the helmet on there? Yeah. Isn't that? So now he's all rigged out, ready to...
All he would need now, if he was going to do an interior structural fire attack, he would just need his breathing apparatus, which is inside the truck. They put that on the way to the call.
But if it were like this, when they just left here a little while ago, and he arrives at the house, wherever that is that the way he's dressed when getting out of the truck? Because he's got everything on, right?
Yes, that's how the attack firefighters would have all that on, and plus the breathing apparatus.
Now I know it's rubber boots, but they aren't real rubber boots.
They're not a rubber boot. They're a steel all across the front where you see the yellow. That's all the steel plate for protection. There's steel plates in the bottom, steel plates in the toes. It's not like a normal rubber boot. It's a safety boot with.
But wouldn't that melt or get hot in a fire? Rubber.
To a point, yes. Those boots, the boots are high temperature performance boots, but they still, actually everything the firefighter still wears, if he gets in hot far enough, will still. So
this is what the modern firefighter looks like.
Yes, he's got an air pack on. the bottle on the back is about a half hour.
Could you just turn around?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And he's actually, that's the air he's breathing. You can hear that nice sound that he's making there. About a half an hour it's rated at, and obviously you can't breathe the products of combustion. It's in the smoke. There's a lot of poisonous gases in there, and this protects us from it. And the rest of the outfit, the bunker coat and boots that you looked at earlier, it protects us from the heat and water, hopefully.
And the visor, is that heat resistant as well? Not the one he put down, but the one over the mouth there.
Yeah, to a point. There isn't anything that we're wearing that won't melt if the fire's hot enough. Hopefully you find out before it does and get out. The visor on top of the helmet is more of an eye protection thing. This other one is you've got to be able to see what the little amount of vision is in the smoke.
And I noticed he's got a little, it's like a, like a, what do you call it, a gauge of some kind.
This thing or the...
The gauge up.